2024 was Caitlin Clark's year, a year where she didn't just dominate the WNBA, but redefined it. She became the face of women's basketball, a sports icon whose influence reached far beyond the court, transforming the league and inspiring a new generation. Clark entered the WNBA with an unparalleled resume. She broke 51 records during her time at the University of Iowa, becoming the all-time points leader in NCAA history, while ranking third all-time in Division I women's assists. Clark led Iowa to 2 championship appearances, transforming the program and building a fan base that broke records, even outdrawing the men's championship game in TV viewership. Her signature deep threes and no-look passes captivated audiences, making her a household name. By the time the 2024 WNBA draft arrived, her selection as the first overall pick was a foregone conclusion. Hearing her name called by the commissioner was still a surreal and emotional moment for Clark. "I earned this," she said, soaking in the experience with her family, teammates, and coaches. Draft night only happens once. Clark's entry into the WNBA came with immense attention. Moving to a new city, meeting her teammates, and adjusting to the Fever's system all happened under the microscope of national media. Practices were packed with reporters, fans crowded arenas for a glimpse of her, and the Fever organization experienced a surge of attention it had never seen before. The team faced a brutal early season schedule, 11 games in 20 days against some of the league's toughest opponents. Even during those challenging moments, Clark's potential shone through. In just her 6th game, she narrowly missed a triple-double, sinking late game threes to secure a win over the LA Sparks. Through her first 11 games, Clark averaged 16 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds, all while facing relentless defensive pressure. Then came her breakout performance in Washington, D.C., where she erupted for 7 three-pointers and 30 points, leading the Fever to a statement victory. From that point on, Indiana boasted the league's best offense. 2 partnerships elevated Clark's impact further. Her connection with the Fever's 2023 #1 pick, Aaliyah Boston, and her backcourt chemistry with Kelsey Mitchell. Boston's screens opened space for Clark's deep shooting, while Mitchell's speed turned Clark's pinpoint passes into fast-break opportunities. Clark's trademark deep threes translated seamlessly into the WNBA. Her average shot distance, 28 feet, was the furthest in the league. That kind of range forces defenders to guard her far from the basket, creating opportunities for her teammates. Whether in transition or half-court sets, Clark's unique combination of scoring, passing, and rebounding kept defenses guessing. By mid-season, Clark was rewriting WNBA history. She recorded 2 triple-doubles, broke the league's single-game assist record with 19 in Dallas, and led the league in total assists. Despite not making Team USA for the Paris Olympics, Clark used the break to recharge and elevate her game. Coming out of the Olympic break, Clark and the Fever surged. Indiana went 7-1 in their first 8 games, clinching a playoff berth for the first time in years. During that stretch, Clark averaged 25 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds, solidifying her as one of the league's best players. Caitlin Clark's 2024 season was historic, earning her AP's Female Athlete of the Year and Time's Athlete of the Year. The AP achievement was fantastic, as she was voted on by 74 sports journalists from the Associated Press. Clark received 35 votes, surpassing Olympic gymnast Simone Biles, 25 votes, and boxer Iman Khalif, 4 votes. She became only the 4th women's basketball player to win the award since its inception in 1931, joining Cheryl Swoops, Rebecca Lobo, and Candace Parker. Moreover, she became the first rookie since 2008 to make the All-WNBA first team, was named Rookie of the Year, and set numerous WNBA records. These included most points and assists by a rookie, the fastest to 100 three-pointers, and the first rookie to record 2 triple-doubles. She also set WNBA and Indiana Fever franchise records for scoring, assists, and three-pointers in a season. Clark became the 9th rookie to start in the All-Star Game, receiving over 700,000 fan votes, the most ever. She made history as the first player to win Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month in the same period, and achieved a WNBA single-game assist record with 19. Her achievements marked her as a transformative player, elevating her team, the league, and women's basketball as a whole. Clark's influence extends far beyond her personal accolades. Her presence in the WNBA generated significant attention and revenue. She accounted for 26% of the WNBA's total revenue, contributing to the league becoming the fastest-growing sports brand in the world. This surge in popularity has been dubbed the Caitlin Clark effect. Her ability to attract both die-hard basketball fans and casual viewers has been likened to the impact Michael Jordan had on the NBA during his heyday. And how can we forget? The league enjoyed its highest regular season audience in 24 years, and her Indiana Fever set a record for home attendance with over 340,000 fans. A game against the Washington Mystics drew a historic 20,711 spectators, with Clark headlining 3 of the league's most attended games. Yet, despite her monumental achievements, Clark's rookie season hasn't received the recognition it deserves. Fans and analysts have noticed a troubling trend. The league and media outlets like ESPN appear to downplay her accomplishments. It started with Clark being overlooked on top 25 lists and continued as her Rookie of the Year candidacy was ignored for months. Now the pattern repeats in the MVP race. Despite having one of the strongest cases, arguably second only to Aja Wilson, Clark finds herself buried in the rankings, relegated to honorable mention status. Clark's stats speak for themselves. She's breaking records left and right, including the WNBA's single-season assist record, surpassing veterans like Alyssa Thomas. Thomas, heralded as a triple-double machine, has had an impressive season, but her scoring lags far behind Clark's. While Thomas averages around 10-11 points per game, Clark is nearly doubling that with close to 20. Even in assists, where Thomas has built her reputation, Clark has matched or surpassed her performance, despite playing on a less stacked roster. Then there's Breanna Stewart, last season's MVP. While Stewart is still a star, her numbers this season have declined. Fewer points, rebounds, and assists, along with career-low shooting percentages. Meanwhile, Clark remains more efficient and impactful across the board, even outshining Stewart in some key areas like shooting accuracy and versatility on the court. Sabrina Ionescu is another name ahead of Clark in the MVP conversation, but the comparison doesn't hold up. Statistically, Clark is outperforming Ionescu in nearly every major category: points, assists, rebounds, and steals. Additionally, while Ionescu benefits from playing on a powerhouse Liberty team with multiple MVP-caliber players, Clark has been carrying the Indiana Fever largely on her own. The MVP debate ultimately centers around Aja Wilson, who has had a historic season. However, even Wilson's case isn't without question marks. The Las Vegas Aces, loaded with talent, have underperformed relative to expectations, finishing as the 4th seed. If team success and individual contribution are weighed equally, the gap between Clark and Wilson narrows. Shannon Sharpe, the outspoken ESPN analyst and former NFL star, openly addressed the rough treatment Caitlin Clark faced during her rookie WNBA season. On his podcast, Nightcap, Sharpe shared a startling statistic. 17% of the league's flagrant fouls were committed against Clark, with the Chicago Sky responsible for 80% of them. He expressed his belief that this pattern was no coincidence. One of the season's most notable matchups occurred on August 30th, when the Indiana Fever dominated the Chicago Sky with a decisive 181 victory. Clark delivered a standout performance, posting a career-high 31 points, 12 assists, and 4 rebounds. However, the game was not without controversy. Clark endured yet another hard foul, this time from Diamond D. Shields, adding to a series of flagrant hits she had sustained throughout the season. Sharpe argued that this level of physicality was less about competition and more about sending a message, pointing to the league's failure to properly acknowledge Clark's impact. Clark's exclusion from the USA Olympic roster earlier in the year also sparked significant debate. Critics pointed to her rookie mistakes, such as leading the league in turnovers, as a reason for the decision. However, supporters like Sharpe suggested that jealousy and resistance to her meteoric rise were the real driving factors behind her omission. Off the court, Clark found herself unintentionally at the center of political and cultural debates. Conservative figures, including former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, invoked her name to fuel discussions on race, favoritism, and marketability. Clark's prominence reignited conversations about racial dynamics in sports, particularly following Iowa's NCAA tournament matchup against LSU, a game loaded with symbolic undertones due to the racial makeup of both teams. Anyway, no one can deny that Clark's success has inspired young girls to pursue basketball and envision careers in the sport. The sight of packed arenas, skyrocketing viewership numbers, and substantial earnings in the WNBA has made professional basketball a viable dream for many. Summing it all, Caitlin Clark's 2024 season was a confluence of extraordinary talent, timing, and opportunity. Her records, awards, and global influence mark a turning point for women's basketball. As she continues her career, her impact on the sport and its future remains immeasurable.